What's going on, everybody? It's your brother New Breed coming through with another live stream. Hit the like button on your way in. Let's chop it up. We're talking about the Carmelo Anthony trial that's coming. Hey, peace and blessings to everybody joining. The Carmelo Anthony trial has all the ingredients to start a potential race war. I mean, you got to look at this entire situation and you got to unpack it. Now, the judge on a Carmelo Anthony trial, she's already getting threats. She had to beef up security. There's a lot of racial tension in the air. You got those who represent MAGA, the strong right-wing conservatives. You got the Sambos. You got the Raccoons. And I'm going to tell y'all this right now. This can get serious, real fast. Now, I want y'all to think about it. The lawyer that Carmelo Anthony got, he's aligned with civil rights activism. And you know he's going to have a lot of people on his side. And then you got the strong right and their racism. You got the bigots. I'm going to tell y'all like this. No matter what the outcome of the trial is, it's going to get crazy. No matter what happens in this trial, it's fitting to get crazy. But at least you can see who is who right now. Because if there were ever a race war, and I'm talking about a real race war that gets physical, you can see who's going to be on your side, and you can see who's going to be cowards. You can just see it clear as day, right? Now, of course, we're about unity. We don't want to see this happen. You know, I got a lot of brothers and sisters from all walks of life, all demographics, and, you know, we love y'all. And we don't want to see this type of tension going on in the country. So let me make this very clear what my perspective of all this is. But right now, tension is boiling because you got young Karmelo being harassed as well as being threatened. His family is being threatened. The death threats are out there. And regardless whether or not I embrace all people, which I do, I'm fully in support of Carmelo Anthony. Fully in support. And there's people out there putting AI images out on Carmelo to pay him out to be some type of criminal. We're talking about a straight A student. We're talking about a young man that worked 2 jobs. We're talking about a young man who is team captain of his football and track and field team. And what we got to understand, America, is the days of white supremacy are coming to an end. See, what you must understand is Austin McCabe never had an authoritative position to be trying to move young Carmelo out of the tent in the first place. It was raining. It was a track meet. He was in that tent. And if he wasn't in a rightful place, Austin should have went and got security. But because a lot of these boys, these strong right-wing conservatives, a lot of them believe that they have some authority position. And those guys were the same age. He had no authority over Carmelo Anthony. And so what you got to understand is he approached him and he got physical. And the consequences of him being physical, it ended his life. because Carmelo defended himself. And that's the reality of the situation. And whether you are black or white, you should you should look at what's justifiable. And what's justifiable is when there's a threat that can cause you harsh bodily harm. Harsh bodily harm. Now we're talking about two young men that were 6'1", 190 pounds, who approached him and engaged in battle with him. And we're talking about a young man that's 5'8", 140 pounds. Karmelo defended himself. And to show his compassion, he actually asked the officer, is he okay? He didn't know what happened because he was just defending himself. It was not premeditated. Carmelo had that knife in his bag. He didn't have that knife on his persons. He didn't go to school with ill intentions. And it actually was a track meet. It wasn't like he was in class. So, with our fellow white counterparts, what y'all got to understand is y'all got to keep your hands to yourself. Whether you in the deep south or you up north, keep your hands to yourself. And you got to make sure you train your children to keep their hands to themselves, because right now we're looking at a potential race war in our country. And we're already immensely divided. China is destroying America right now. I got to talk about that too. But China is out here obliterating America, is shaking America to its core. And Trump is also talking about going to war with Iran. And simultaneously, our country is about to go into a race war. So what you got to understand is, no, we don't want to see these things happen. But I could tell you right now, the Sambos and all those who are not warriors, all those who, hate their own people, you already know what side of the field they're going to come on. They're going to fall on. You already know that they're going to be begging and pleading because they believe in white supremacy. They believe that they shouldn't push back when they're being assaulted and attacked and getting their head dashed across the stone. You can clearly see who the cowards are in our community. You can see who the cowards are. And those type of people got to go. They got to go. They don't belong in our community. Anybody who is demonizing this young man for standing his ground in Texas, they got to go. You understand that, brothers and sisters? And this is not something that is racially or politically charged. This is something that's just true, right? Keep your hands to yourself. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. It's gonna get ugly. The reason why Carmelo Anthony, more than likely, the reason why he switched up lawyers is because, yes, he's gonna play the black card, and deal with a lawyer who's dealing with civil rights and the lawyer who's gonna win, regardless of the lawyer's history, background, or what we know or what we don't know. When it comes to legal situations such as this one, you're gonna get the person you believe that can win the case. Simple as that. They fundraised enough money, they're gonna hire a lawyer that's going to win, right? And they are gonna win because Carmelo didn't do anything wrong. He just protected himself. So they are gonna win. But what I'm trying to put this out here to you, brothers and sisters, is that they went and played the black card, and there's going to be a lot of civil rights activism. Why? Because they have to combat the racially charged bigots who are upset that Carmelo is free. He's at home right now. They have to combat that. This is war. Y'all don't even understand right now. This whole situation has already developed to a race war on the media, in the media's eyes. But when things get physical, when people start threatening people's families, when they start threatening judges, that is terroristic acts. Ladies and gentlemen, they're threatening a federal judge. So I want you to understand the climate that we are in America. This is why you got to look at those around you who's really on your side. Because let me tell y'all, when them purge people come through with their Confederate flags and they ready to wage war, ladies, y'all got to ask yourself, what type of men is going to fight if they have to fight? What type of men is going to defend themselves if they have to defend themselves? And what kind of men are going to cower and bow to white supremacy? See, I don't want to harm nobody, but I will stand my ground. I would teach my sons the same thing. Don't you keep your hands to yourself, but if somebody put their hands on you, you got to do what you got to do to make sure you make it home to your family. You got to make sure you make it home to your family. Because in these days, I'm going to just tell you like this, people don't fight no more. People don't want to fight no more. They're not like we were growing up. You got to keep your hands to yourself or you're going to get packed up out here in this day and age. But if it ever gets to the point where the men have to secure their environment, y'all got to look at who's going to cower, who's going to be a snitch and a rat and say, hey, these guys is out there defending their neighborhood, and who's going to be down to defend their territory. Because there's going to be a day and an age where you're going to see them purge people with the Confederate flags on, with the hockey mask on. And these guys are going to be taking blocks over. And when they taking blocks over, you got to ask yourself, what group of men are going to come together and secure the parameter? Who is going to meet them halfway to make sure they don't come nowhere near our radius? Who is going to stand up? That's the question, you guys, because what we're getting right now is a microcosm of things that can come. Now, I'm not saying that it will be a race war, but I'm saying that a case like this is going to be bigger than the OJ trial. This is going to be one of the biggest trials in history. And this is the reason why you got to get rid of the Sambos, the raccoons, the knuckle dragging imbeciles who glorify white supremacy. This is the reason why you got to shun them from the community. They are marked. They are ops. And, you got to pay attention to these bigots and racists too. Because they're telling on themselves right now. I'm going to tell y'all right now, a lot of people are exposing who they are right now. All you got to do is be paying attention. They're telling you who they are. They're letting you know what type of time they're on. They're letting you know that they're not for their own people. And they're letting you know that they are cowards. All you got to do is observe. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who are talking crazy. There's one content creator, which I won't say the person's name. This person was basking in Karmelo being arrested, but he took it a step further, and he was basically fantasizing about Carmelo Anthony getting raped in jail. I could not believe what I was hearing. He was fantasizing about Carmelo losing his manhood in jail. We talking about this is supposed to be a black man that was doing this. And this shows you the lack of empathy, the lack of compassion, the hatred for these people who act like us, but they're not us. This shows you the lack of compassion that these sickos have in our communities. But they want to portray themselves to be for the people. That's crazy, man. Somebody said, instead of punching your own brother when you're not looking, talk to that man with no animosity, just gain clarity. I'm not sure what that means, but Karmelo was approached first, and he stood his ground. And Karmelo walked out of that jail, and the bond was reduced for a reason. The reason why the bond was reduced because there was no video footage of him breaking any law. And the more details and the more evidence that the judge gets in discovery, the more she sees that he's not a threat to the public. So everybody calling him a thug, calling him this, calling him that. The more evidence that comes out in discovery proves that Karmelo is not these things. He is not no threat. And so she let him out. And honestly, it was his first charge. In a stand your ground state, he screamed self-defense. He should have got out on his own recognizance. Technically. So for all you bigots and racists who upset with the judge, attacking the judge, you know, really, she was fair about the situation. Because she really could have got him out on his own recognizance. And see, that's what people don't understand. But they are full of hate. There's so many people full of hate. It's not just the bigots and the racists on the MAGA side, but you got our own people who are full of hate, who try to appease the power structure. They're trying to appease it. And there's a lot of people racking up a lot of views because they're uplifting white supremacy. Those people are being used. They're upholding it. There's a lot of people getting a lot of views just destroying Carmelo Anthony's reputation on social media. And then you got some who ain't getting no views about it, but nonetheless, they're still running their mouths. But it's crazy. Somebody says, justice for Carmelo. Absolutely, man. Justice for Carmelo. Somebody said Carmelo Anthony is innocent and many racist people are going to be exposed because of this case. Yeah. And it could be a war because of this case. That's right. Innocent till proven guilty. And we know if there's a war, we know who is going to be the agents. We know who is going to be, you know, wearing wires. We know who the COINTELPRO Negroes are going to be. We know who they are. Because I could tell you right now, it's going to get ugly. You know, it's going to get ugly, man. If they say innocent, MAGA going to tweak. The racists going to tweak. If they say guilty, our people are going to take to the streets. I'm telling you, it's going to look like the Million Man March out there. It's going to look like the Million Man March out there in Texas if they find that young man guilty. And I can tell you right now, if the race war pop off, we ready. We ain't backing down from nothing. You keep your hands to yourself. And see, that's how these people are raised, believing that they have authority over our people, believing that they can take that stance and violate our personal space. Nah, you don't violate our personal space. Once you cross that line, you don't know how somebody is going to react. You don't know what's going to happen when you violate somebody's personal space. This should be a lesson to the whole entire nation that we're not, our young men who are growing up are not going to bow to white supremacy. They're not going to do it. And they're not going to be attacked. And they're not going to allow you to usurp authority over them unlawfully. You're not going to be able to do that with the young men that's coming up right now. These YNs will put you in a box right now. I'm telling you. That's a war that them people do not want. You know, I know this generation got a lot of issues, but them YNs or YGs, whatever you want to call them, in this day and age, are not going for that. They're not going for white supremacy. They're not going for people, you know, violating their personal space. And, you know, that's just a war that y'all don't want to have. Yes, Hikaru says, right, Austin's dad got a weird case. Why is he around? Yeah, I mean, you know, I heard that there was a SA charge on Austin's father. You know, that's, you know, it is what it is. You know, I don't know nothing about I don't know nothing about that situation, but even if we're just sticking to this case right here, if we stick to this situation right here, it's gonna get ugly, and it's gonna get ugly real fast. This has the whole entire recipe for a race war. Y'all just gotta stay tuned, man. It is gonna get real out here. So, stay on your P's and Q's. Look at the people who are talking a certain way, acting a certain way, positioning themselves a certain way. Hey, man, that's right. YNs and OGs. Our people are not going for it. But pay attention to what's happening, y'all. I just wanted to come through with this quick stream, man. Y'all be, y'all stay ready so you never gotta get ready, and always observe your surroundings, man. Look, y'all be blessed out here. Shalom and peace.